Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Frightmare HQ. My name is Lloyd, and I have a machete, and I'm not afraid to use it.
Damn, Lloyd, you're insane.
I'm insane.
I got a bottle of wine and a box cutter, you son of a bitch. Let's do it.
This is a real machete too. I mean, this is like it's an old and kind of an antique machete.
Wow.
Belonged to my
grandfather. What are you gonna do with that?
I'm serious. This was my grandfather's machete.
Do you use it to like carve the turkeys?
I can't tell you what he did with it.
Oh, I know what he did. Yeah. I've seen those movies.
Yeah. Oh my Lord. Well, let's introduce yourself. We haven't introduced you yet.
I am the man with no name. I am the homeless wizard.
I'm just watching you pour wine in your cup. Your cup runneth over, Charles.
My Frightmare HQ cup. It might be coffee. It may not.
So, are we live or not?
Hell, I don't know. Who knows?
Let me refresh. I want to refresh YouTube and see. Yeah, it says it's waiting for us. Is there some kind of delay?
Hell yeah, it's waiting for us because, man, we know how to party.
That's weird. Well,
I mean, I'm live on YouTube, so it's all right.
Oh, you see it?
Heck yeah!
I don't know why it's not coming up for me. Oh, well.
Because you're Lloyd Cryer.
Yeah, that's weird.
You're king of the druids, all right?
I am king of the druids, Lloyd Cryer. But before we exalt myself and my awesomeness,
I need to put my audio cassette in here, a Frankenhooker. Hold on.
Do that. But I want to say hello to some folks. So you do that,
too.
and I'm going to say hi to peoples. Travis Brown, Allie Tappa, Todd Lewis.
Oh wait, never mind.
Jeanette.
I don't have an audio. I don't have an audio cassette player. I'm screwed. I was going to just put it in the DVD player. It didn't work. Didn't fit.
Stephen Burt's here. Travis Brown. I already mentioned him. Ashley Guillory. Hello, Ashley.
Guillory. Ashley Guillory's here. Who else here?
Patrick Lagrave gives us a big thumbs up.
Ooh, that's a spooky man, Patrick.
David Dugas is here. Jennifer
Goss.
Kiesendahl.
Kiesendahl.
We went over this last time, right? It's Kiesendahl, not Kaisendahl. Or is it Kaisendahl? I don't remember.
Eisen.
Kiesendahl. And so the gang's all here. What do you think of that?
I'm excited, dude.
Me too.
If you guys are on YouTube, please remember to like at the bottom. Give it one of those like thumbs up, because I like when you do that. It makes me feel saucy.
Yes, Charles loves it.
I just sit here and I just wait for it to go up in the numbers. Well, I hope everybody had a good holiday. Haven't seen everybody in a week.
I know.
And this is our last show of the year.
Wow.
Holy shit, what happened to 2020?
It's finally over, thank God.
God, the only good thing happened was Frightmare HQ. That's it.
That's right. Frightmare Collectibles was a good thing.
That's a good thing, too. Anything involving the word Frightmare is good. Everything else is kind of just...
I think we're going to try to do a better recap of the year. Maybe this Saturday. Charles and I briefly talked about it, so that's something to look forward to, is doing a recap and kind of just talking about what we accomplished this year, which is absolutely effing nothing.
I ain't accomplished shit, man. I got COVID and almost died. That's it.
That's true. We accomplished this year, which is absolutely.
No, yeah, we had a lot of good times on Frightmare HQ this year. But yeah, I mean, we can talk about that on Saturday. Why don't we do that? We can recap some of our fun guests and shit. We had a lot of good times. And we got a lot of good friends, too. All of our friends always joining us. It's always nice.
Yeah. It's really good. It's really fun. And speaking of fun, we have a great show. I don't know how great.
I don't know about that.
It's 1998.
It's 1998. There wasn't shit in 1998. There was there's a couple.
Yeah, well, you say that, but I go through the list, and there are actually a few movies in here. There's one that I'm looking forward to kind of ragging on a little bit.
And there's a couple in here that I had to put in here that are bad.
Yeah,
I had to do it.
Yeah, so we'll rag on this one, but it's later down the list. It's probably the second one to the last.
Which one I know that one. Oh, I know which that one is. And also, at some point today, I'm gonna give away a copy of Sleepwalkers on Blu-ray because it's the 90s.
Yes.
It's
That Blu-ray was hard to find a couple years ago, seems like, and now they're everywhere.
Well, it's a beautiful story about cats and incest, and everybody wants that in their life.
Yeah.
So,
So that's a cool giveaway. So everybody hang around and stay tuned. We'll give that away to one lucky winner.
dun 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 dun. Da, ga, 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 da. That's all I got.
Okay. So
I'm trying, but it's good though.
It's good. Do you want to go ahead and kick this off?
Sure.
Optimus,
Why not?
Looks like Optimus Power went over to Twitch. He said he was having trouble with YouTube. Yeah, I was too, man. I was having trouble, but it looks like it's good now. I don't know what happened.
Well, Optimus Power is just nothing but full of gypsy tears. That's it. So,
Patrick LaGrave asked, "Where do I get one of those cool coffee cups, Charles?" I think Charles knows exactly where to get it. Go ahead, Charles, and tell our lucky contestant.
Hey, we sell all this stuff on FrightmareHQ.com. Oh, yes. Looking for fun items for the family? FrightmareHQ.com. We've got all kinds of shit on there.
With our ugly ass faces on it.
Yeah. I'm looking I need to make some balloons, too. It's really what I need.
Yeah.
I need some balloons.
Do we have COVID masks?
We do, actually. Unless they ran out of them again.
There you go, guys. Chrissy says
being
it
kept,
looks like we have two streams. Something got all screwed up, I guess. I don't know.
I'm being kept company here by Nancy. Look at her. She's hanging.
There you go.
Nancy. That's an original media release that I stapled to my thing because it was all messed up. So I don't care. I have problems.
Well, guys,
right.
I think we should jump right into it. We've wasted enough of your precious time.
Merry Christmas.
Right out of the gate, a group of heavily armed hijackers board a luxury ocean liner in the South Pacific Ocean to loot it.
It's Titanic, too?
Yep. Only to do battle with a series of large-sized, tentacled, man-eating sea creatures who have invaded the ship. Released January 30th, 1998. It's the American horror film
Titanic 2.
Directed by Steven Sommers.
Yeah, Deep Rising. Holy crap. I've had too much to drink already. Well, Deep Rising was definitely a movie that nobody gave a shit about when it came out. And then it slowly gained like a cult following. And even today it has a cult following.
It does. I remember when this movie came out and nobody gave a shit. You know?
Nobody cared.
Yeah. But then years later,
everybody was just ignored it.
I always have people go, "Have you seen Deep Rising? Boy, that's a good movie." I get that all the time.
Where? I remember one of the early reviews for it I read referred to it as a turd in the toilet bowl floating around.
A review?
Yeah.
I
don't
think it's a bad movie at all.
I always liked Deep Rising, even when it got like shit back in the day, because it felt like an old school just monster movie. You know, it was a lot of fun. It wasn't meant to be good. It's one of those movies where you just enjoy it. You know.
Well, I constantly get people recommend that to me. You know, they're always saying, "Yeah, you should check out Deep Rising," and I'm like, "Yeah, I've seen it. It's pretty good.
I've seen it." Like in some like mysterious movie that's like lost in the depths of time. I'm going to tell you about a movie you've never heard of before.
Well, to be
Deep Rising.
To be fair, I usually only get it from people who aren't like horror fans, quote unquote. It's usually just like people who find out I'm a horror fan and they go, "Dude, have you seen Deep Rising? Good movie. It's good."
It's a fun popcorn movie. It's like a B movie on steroids, but I think they missed the opportunity of mixing this with Titanic because that would have been an amazing movie, you know?
Yeah.
I'll never let go, Jack. Woo! Monsters. Spooky.
So I'm getting some folks, just the FYI.
Who likes Deep Rising?
They're over on Twitch. They left YouTube because somehow it split and did a new stream.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm going to give them the new stream.
Oh, I know. If you go to our main Frightmare HQ, it's the first thing on top, but I'm on there. Uh, yeah, Deep Rising though. I mean, it was directed by Steven Sommers and definitely feels like a Steven Sommers movie. A year after this, Steven Sommers would bring out a gigantic hit, The Mummy remake, which is kind of a remake of The Mummy, and after that, he really just did bigger budget movies. Like this was a CGI, infested movie too. But Steven Sommers went on to do The Mummy and The Mummy Returns. I know he did Van Helsing. He did one of the really shitty GI Joe movies that came out like 10 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's kind of what he's known for. And don't forget, guys, he also wrote the Tom and Huck movie with Jonathan Taylor Thomas and Brad Renfro.
No, he
so
didn't.
In case you're wondering,
Really?
He did. Steven Sommers wrote that. So if you're ever wondering who gave us the amazing Tom and Huck with JTT and Brad Renfro in 1995, well, that was Steven Sommers. Because only Steven Sommers can make something that amazing. So
there you go. Okay. Well, I tend to not disagree with Charles when it comes to movies because Charles loves his movies and he knows movies. So there you go. Deep Rising.
I don't like movies that much. I'm not a fan of what you would call Flickr pictures, but I try.
I don't like them films.
I don't like them there Flickr pictures. All right, now I like my phonograph. That's it. It goes. That's it. Sweet. It plays the music. No, Deep Rising. I mean, it was a fun movie. Jerry Goldsmith did the score in it, which Jerry Goldsmith was an amazing composer. It's got a fun score. Had a good cast from Mika Jensen, Treat Williams. I was never a big fan of Treat Williams. He kind of made it feel like a TV movie, but you could throw that out there. It's fun. And Kino Lorber actually brought out a really amazing Blu-ray of this a couple years ago for the 20th anniversary, which I'm sure 15 years ago, if you told somebody there was going to be a special 20th anniversary edition of Deep Rising, they would have been like, nah.
Yeah.
You have to find it on VHS.
It seemed like around this era, everybody was trying to make some kind of an underwater horror movie. Was it around this time, or there just seemed to be a whole flood of them at one point?
Yeah, it kind of kicked off around this time. Mm-hmm. Kind of moved into the 2000s, but really, really kicked off about this time. There was quite a few, though.
Yep. Well, I'm ready to move on to the next one because this is a movie to talk about.
Oh, hell yeah. All right, guys. Let's see what we got. A reporter and her ex-husband investigate a cursed videotape that is rumored to kill the viewer 7 days after they watch it. This was released in Japan, January 31st, 1998. It's the Japanese horror film Ringu, directed by Hideo Nakata, based on the 1991 novel by Koji Suzuki. Also, of course, called Ring or The Ring when it was released in the U.S. It was translated as The Ring in some other countries too. But Ringu.
Fantastic movie. Started a love affair that I have with Japanese horror films, and then, of course, Asian horror films in general. Because this is a fantastic movie, and it was such a fresh idea for the time.
Yeah, I mean it was. It's like you said, it inspired all kinds of follow-ups, Western remakes, novelizations. It really popularized J-horror again internationally. Yeah. This is one of the movies that a lot of people became fascinated with J-horror from Ringu. It was kind of the first one that captured people. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because it was one of the first ones that was very easy to watch, very understandable, because you've seen some of the shit I pulled out for you before. You're like, what the hell's going on? This was one of the first ones where the story flowed and it kind of made sense to a Western audience.
It was a lot more accessible. Let's say that. It was much more accessible by a Western audience. And it turned me on to a lot of Japanese horror too. This is probably the first Japanese horror movie that I had heard about. Well, I wouldn't say heard about, but around that time, it was new. So it kicked it off for me, man. I was seeking these things out like crazy after Ringu.
Yeah, and Ringu, it took a while in post production to come out in Japan, so it was actually released at the same time as its sequel was brought out too, Spiral. They were pretty much brought out at the same time, and I didn't include Spiral on here just because of a couple of things, but Spiral's pretty good too. But Ringu is where it's at. Ringu is a fantastic film. If you haven't seen it, watch it, because I find a lot of people who have seen The Ring from 2002, the U.S. movie, but not Ringu.
Yeah.
It's kind of surprising, but there is a fantastic Blu-ray out there from Arrow Video that's still available that I'd highly recommend you get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you guys think?
So let's go ahead and show the trailer that we have, and
yeah,
it's a good trailer.
It is a good trailer, actually.
It is.
This is a trailer. The trailer for this is it's kind of the one that came out a couple years ago that Arrow remastered at the time they were bringing out the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So really, really good quality.
The remaster is fantastic.
Yeah, it's so above and beyond the Arrow remaster of this, and if you kind of want to see a good comparison, just look for other trailers on YouTube, because other trailers on YouTube are basically the quality it was before compared to this, and it's like night and day.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the one thing too that makes this more accessible is that there is dialogue, but it's not solely, focused on dialogue. So you can watch this movie and not really worry about what's being said so much.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I kind of saw this about 1999. It was the first time I saw this, and I remember when The Ring came out, the U.S. one, and like nobody knew that was a remake. They're like, "Oh, The Ring, you got to go see it. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's such an amazing original story." And I'm like, "No, it's not."
That was kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
But
Well, Lloyd, we just live our life a quarter mile at a time. That's all we can do. I actually don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't either. I was just going along with it.
Look, I've been watching too much Fast and Furious. It's the problem, mine. Everybody in the comments is talking about Wonder Woman 84. We're not here to talk about Wonder Woman. God damn it.
Yeah, no more Wonder Woman.
I've had too much to drink to tell you guys how I feel about Wonder Woman 84. It's going to go on for like an hour, so
yeah,
we're not going to do that.
And I personally don't even want to get into it.
Well, you know what, Lloyd? I don't want to get into you.
How's that sound?
That's what I say. Boom.
Number 3 on our list.
No, yeah. So just to remind everybody that Arrow does have a Ringu Blu-ray out, but it's also on Shudder too. So if you guys got Shudder, Ringu is available on Shudder.
Yep.
Let's shutter up this damn movie and move on to the next one.
All right. So the next one, recovering from an ambush that killed his entire team, a vengeful vampire slayer must retrieve an ancient Catholic relic. That, should it be acquired by vampires, will allow them to walk in sunlight. First released in France, April 15th, 1998, and not opening in the U.S. until 7 months later. It's the American neo-Western action horror film Vampires, directed and scored by John Carpenter and starring James Woods. It was adapted from the novel Vampires with a $sign by John Stakely.
Yeah. Well, that's a John Carpenter movie. There's that.
I don't know. This wasn't my favorite movie. But it has a big cult following, and I respect that. There's a lot of people that love this movie. Yeah,
it's true. And originally, this was another movie that was planned for a long time. Not really a long time, but way before Carpenter had this, because this wasn't developed as a Carpenter movie. Originally, the vampire, not the vampire, James Woods' character was going to be played by Dolph Lundgren in this movie. And it was going to be directed by Russell McKay, who is known for doing Highlander, basically, and Razorback. So he was going to direct this with Dolph Lundgren in there, and apparently the role of the vampire is going to be played by William Dafoe at one point, which I would have liked to see William Dafoe in this. But, there was a lot of back and forth with this movie for about 4 or 5 years, and then they got a little bit more of a budget. So, I don't know, they somehow got John Carpenter to do it, and he kind of took over the project. John Carpenter. So, John Carpenter. John Carpenter wasn't the only person in contention. They were actually trying to get Peter Jackson to do this movie, too. Peter Jackson was like, no, I'm good. This is not a Peter Jackson movie at all. Like, if you look at this, there's no way you could read this script and think Peter Jackson would ever direct this movie. It's not his style,
Yeah.
It's really not.
Well, Allie says
this is a John Carpenter movie. So
Allie says she loves this one because she loves John Bon Jovi, and she doesn't even like his music, but she likes him as a person and an actor. I'd agree with that. I think John Bon Jovi seems like a nice guy.
Well, he does seem like a nice guy. I mean, he wasn't in this movie, but I like Bon Jovi.
I know. I was waiting for somebody to say that, but I don't know. What was he in a vampire movie?
Yeah, he was in the sequel, Los Muertos, direct-to-video from 2002.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's a better one.
I actually like the sequel, which I guess we could talk about when we get to the 2000s. But the sequel was directed by Tommy Lee Wallace, who directed Halloween 3: Season of the Witch. So it's kind of surprising, but I feel like that's actually a better movie. I like the sequel better. I like this one.
I've never seen that one.
No, you're not crazy. No. I mean, I could probably edit all 3 of these movies into one movie and have Bon Jovi in it. So Let me do that. I got an editing suite here. Let's do it. But no, I mean, I don't dislike vampires. I actually think it's a fun movie. It's super gory, and the original cut of this, they had a hard time not getting an NC-17 rating because it was so gory. Carpenter kind of fought with the MPAA in this, and that's why it came out in 98 instead of 97, because originally this was going to be a late 97 release. It was actually filmed in 90. Oh, it was actually finished and done in 97, but there was so much back and forth with the MPAA over the rating that it got pushed to 98, and in the end, they only had to cut like 23 seconds of the movie to get an R rating instead of an NC-17 rating. But kind of what happened. But yeah, gory, and it's definitely a fun movie. It's definitely a fun movie.
That's I got the poster up. Was that a Japanese poster?
Yeah, a Japanese poster is up. I like the Japanese poster because it's one of the basically the only one that actually uses this kind of imagery, this style in it. The other one is kind of just a shot of the team. This one looks more like a horror movie,
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, Vampires it's fun. I definitely recommend this and the sequel. Don't watch the third sequel. I mean, if you can avoid it, don't do that. There was one called The Turning in 2005, which is basically one of the worst things that'll ever happen to you in your life if you ever watch it. And I'm just going to put that out there. It'll happen to you. But, like all John Carpenter movies, we got a good score because he scores it himself.
Yeah.
He's a good director. And cast is... I always like James Woods. I don't care what the hell James Woods does. I always like him. So, fun movie.
Yeah.
He's James Woods. He's an asshole. That's why I like him so much. We're drawn to each other. We're both the same. So
somebody said I can't remember who said it, but somebody said this is his best role ever.
James Woods?
Mm-hmm. And it's a great role for him, but
I gotta go with Videodrome.
That's what I was gonna say. Videodrome's me. But no,
that's
I
not
get it.
I get it. He does great in this. So it's definitely a James
Mr.
Woods.
80s said he's the one that said it.
Yeah, and this was actually the only film in the 90s that John Carpenter made that was financially successful. So there's that.
Really?
There's that. Yep. Everything else cost them a lot of money.
Besides Halloween.
Well, in the 90s.
Yeah.
In the 90s.
yeah.
You know.
All right, so this one, did you talk about Shout Factory had a Blu-ray and the rental and all that? Yeah, Shout Factory's got a Blu-ray, $21 on Amazon. You can rent it at several places for $3.99, Apple TV, Amazon, and Vudu.
Whoa. Voodoo. All right. Yeah.
And you're not going to believe this, Charles, but
What's
the
up?
next one is yours, and I have seen this movie.
I'm surprised, Lloyd. I'm very proud of you.
This was during my my Asian kick.
I know you like those Asian films, Lloyd, dirty boy.
Hey, watch
I know what you like.
Watch it.
All right, guys. A group of young shoppers and employees must band together when a zombie outbreak overruns their Hong Kong shopping center. Released in Hong Kong, June 11th, 1998. It's the Hong Kong zombie comedy film Bio Zombie, directed by Wilson Yip. And I pulled a fantastic English dubbed trailer for you guys that it's so ridiculously bad, it's fantastic.
Yeah. Here it is.
We gotta just watch this trailer. Let them watch it. It's hilarious. Hey, you stole it.
It's literally been years since I've seen this one, but it's kind of a slapstick comedy.
It is,
but it is gory, and it's got some good zombie stuff going on in it.
It's definitely got a Dead Alive type feel to it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Fine, stay. We'll stay then. I really want to start redubbing a whole bunch of old Japanese horror movies myself, you know?
Yeah.
I really do. You should let me do that in my spare time. Just give me all of them. I don't even need to see the script. I'm going to make my own stories up.
Well, I don't know how many people here watching with us right now have seen this movie, but I'd say it's worth checking out.
If you can find it, it's definitely worth checking out. Is
it hard to find right now?
It is nearly impossible to find this movie.
Huh. I think I have the DVD around here somewhere.
Yeah, the DVD was brought out in 2001. That was one of the only legitimate releases ever of this movie. That was the only U.S. release. The Blu-ray gets $50-$60 on eBay used. No Blu-ray here. For the first time ever, a legit company in France, brought out the first remastered Blu-ray like 3 months ago in France, and they're already gone. Like, you can't find one. Like, they sold out of them completely. I ordered one, but I still haven't got it in. I ordered one when they came out from France, so I'm really hoping to get it in and not disappear in the wreck of the Titanic, where all my overseas stuff ends up. So,
Travis Brown just said that Lloyd has a secret stash of Asian porn movies.
Oh, it's not a secret, Travis. If you ever go to his house, it's the first thing he pulls out. He's like, "Hey, come here. I want to show you what I've got."
It's a whole room.
He's like,
it's a whole room, right, Charles?
It's a whole room, and he's very forceful with it. He's like, "Check this one out."
Yeah.
I'm putting this one in, and I'm like, "No, Lloyd." He's like, "This one's in 3D."
I force you into the room, and then I lock the door behind you. You can't get out.
I'm Lloyd Cryer. You ever seen Nasty Things? I'd be like, Lloyd, your room smells like Doritos and sweat. I know.
I do have a lot of Asian movies. I'm not sure they're necessarily porn, but I do have a lot of Asian.
I don't want to talk about your
films.
Asian movies.
Yeah.
But, guys, I hate having to pull these Asian movies out that you can't find. That's how a lot of these are, and it sucks. I'm hoping that by getting the word out a lot of these, maybe we can get a damn release. But BioZombie is really good.
There's no streaming or anything?
No, nothing.
Wow.
And if you have an all-region player, like I tell you, try to find the Blu-ray because it's still kind of floating around in some French sites.
Mm-hmm.
It is like $23 shipped. And I have a feeling it's going to be like $300 like next month or something ridiculous.
Wasn't that a Shriek show release, the DVD way back?
I don't remember. It was 2001.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember it either. There was rumors for a long time that there was going to be a U.S. Blu-ray release. We never saw it, and the company in France is called Spectrum, and they're actually a legit boutique Blu-ray company, but only in France. And they brought it out. And it's weird because this was never even really released in Hong Kong or anything. It was just kind of, it was on VHS, and there was some bootleg DVDs, but like nobody's ever given us a really good release of this. So it's a fun movie if you could find it. If you think of like if Peter Jackson made Dawn of the Dead, this is pretty much what you would have. It's like a crazy, over-the-top slapstick mall zombie movie. It's kind of what it is.
Yeah, yeah. And it does take place in a mall, so I'm surprised that Rubenstein didn't sue him for that.
Hey, everybody knows when they go in a mall, you got to give me $4. He probably calls up like JCPenney and Old Navy. He's like, "You guys in the mall? $6. You can keep being in that mall.
$6. All right,
$6. I'm Rubenstein. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this is as good as like Dawn of the Dead.
Oh God, no.
Or stuff like that. It's not. It's not at all. But it's still. It was a nice breath of fresh air at the time when there wasn't a lot of, especially zombie movies, were kind of gone. So it's a nice watch to the late 90s.
Well, that like we were talking about, the Asian horror films were kind of dominating at this time. They were the best of the best.
They were. There was a nice string where the Asian movies were the best, and not a lot of people have seen a lot of them because of what we've ran into with these damn rights issues. They're not released anywhere, which is sad.
Yeah. All right. So let's go to the next one. The next one is a more well-known film, obviously.
I don't know this movie. What is this?
Mike continues his quest to defeat the Tall Man. It's Phantasm IV Oblivion, y'all.
It is?
Yes, by traveling through time and dimensions to find his origins. First debuting at the Fantasia International Film Festival in Canada, July 31st, 1998. It's the American sci-fi horror film Phantasm IV Oblivion, written, produced, and directed by Don Coscarelli.
Dang.
Phantasm IV, PIV.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, Phantasm IV is still surprisingly good considering that Coscarelli basically had no budget to make this movie. This was when nobody would give him money, and he basically had to finance this himself, going out and getting money.
Yeah.
I mean, by comparison, this was like, I don't even know. I think this was like a fifth or a sixth of the budget of like the other Phantasm movies. It was like really low, very, very low, because Phantasm 2, that's when it was studio driven. These weren't studio driven movies at this time. They kind of gave up on this, but Coscarelli drove this shit forward, and I like Phantasm 4. I like all the Phantasm movies,
I do too. 1 through 4, absolutely fantastic. Love them all.
I've always said that Coscarelli is really good with low budgets. Like he knows how to make these movies where it doesn't seem like they're low budget. And this one, he did it by filming most of this shit in the desert. He's like, alternate dimensions.
Yeah.
Like, all right. It's cool. Because you don't have to pay for sets or that kind of shit. It's just like, all right, we're in the desert. Let's do it.
There you go.
Who cares?
Yep.
And he was always smart like that. Like, he always made these movies for low budgets that didn't really feel like it because he invested money where it counted. And even in this one, some of the effects were done like for free. Like, it was fans of the movie and stuff were doing special effects shots for him and stuff. So he's like, sure, make it. We're good.
Yeah. I love all of these. I've actually, I remember back in the VHS days of renting all 4 of these and just watching them in one sitting where possible. But
yeah.
They're good. They all fit together really nicely, I think.
Yeah, and I know your favorite one is 5, but we can't get to that one until we do Wayne the 2010. So I'm sorry, Lloyd. I'm sorry about that.
There was a fifth one made?
Yeah, it was actually half Phantasm, half porn movie called Ravager. So
there you go.
There was a lot of full frontal nudity in that one, so not a lot of people have seen it.
And I love this photo of or whatever it is, this composite or whatever this is of Angus. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
You know, that was it was basically used for promotional poster, and that was on the VHS. So, I mean, it basically was a direct-to-video release. There was some small screenings, but I mean, essentially, it was direct-to-video. That's kind of what happened with it. October it came out direct-to-video right before Halloween. It did play a couple of small screenings in New York, LA, and a little bit in Canada, but yeah, it was direct-to-video. Very sad, but this is the time where if you weren't making some sort of variation of Scream, you probably weren't going to get a studio distribution to it. So
very true, and we've got one of those coming up pretty quickly. On the list, so we'll talk about that when we get to it. But Phantasm IV: Oblivion, it's a great flick.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. Definitely one I'd recommend getting. The Blu-rays for all of Phantasm are readily available. There was a while when you couldn't get these. It was back when they weren't out and the DVDs were kind of hard to get. But now they're just kind of readily available. They're around, so always recommend getting them. If you can ever find the Spear set, which I still don't have a copy of, that's the best one. Did you black out?
No, I thought you were going to say something else. That's the best one.
It is the best one because Lloyd and I are in it at some point.
Yeah.
I know that. we actually are. We show up in the damn thing.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. And I don't think I've ever even seen the footage. I've seen the screen cap of it, and that's it.
That's it. I've never seen the footage either. But I drank this whole bottle of wine, and we're only 37 minutes in. So
I see that. Well, this also says that you can watch this on Prime Video, Shudder, Vudu, free with ads,
Vudu.
$2.99 rental on Amazon. And I know the DVD. There's a DVD set with all 5 movies in it for like $18, $19 too. I think so.
Yeah. There was a while where the DVD was the only way you could get it, and the DVD was apparently back then was all out of print and rare. But then as soon as they bought the Blu-ray out, the company who owned it somehow released 10,000 of those DVDs. They were just holding on to them. So they were like, "Oh, here you go." I'm like, "You're the sons of bitches selling them on eBay yourself."
Yeah,
I know
probably.
Them and Lloyd Cryer sell all the movies. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Phantasm. What else can we say? Originally the Phantasm was going to be a little different. Phantasm IV was originally written as a more post-apocalyptic movie, and it was actually going to have Bruce Campbell in it, and that one didn't go through. And then Don Coscarelli wrote a different screenplay, which is the one we see here, and directed it. And it paved the way for the end of the series, which is the amazing movie called Ravager. So, thank you.
There you go. Thank you. All right, Charles, you got the next one.
Yeah, guys, we're kind of chugging along here.
We are.
Next one is one that I really like. It's a good one.
I do too, Charles. I like this movie. Yes.
Yeah, man, we're done now. Bye, guys.
We agree.
I agree.
Show's
we're
over.
Out. All right, guys. All right, this is about a young lady named Laurie Strode. She's now the dean of
Northern
it's
Halloween,
California
1978.
private school. It is. Well, in this movie, Laurie Strode is the dean of a North California private school under assumed name. Her name in the movie is Jiggle Wiggle. That's her name. Jiggle Wiggle. And she must battle the Shape one last time. This is the last time she's going to battle the Shape, guys. This is it. All right? Has her life and the life of her son hang in the balance. This was released August 5th, 1998. It's an American slasher film called Halloween H2O, 20 years later, directed by Steve Miner.
Good old Steve Miner. Guys. Boom. And there's what is this poster? Is this a British quad?
This is actually a banner that would have hung at the theaters in anticipation of release. This is actually super rare. So if you ever see one, and it's less than like $200, I'd recommend buying it because they're pretty awesome and they're hard to find.
Yeah, that is really
They're
cool.
made out of really thick material, like I don't know what you call it,
those
but
vinyl banners.
like those vinyl banners, yeah, like the canvasy vinyl ones,
okay.
really big. I saw one of them sell for $900 on eBay, so it's a little out of my budget. So sorry, guys.
Yeah, well, I did like Halloween H2O. I don't know. People give this movie a hard time, don't they? Am I wrong, or do they?
Some people do, some people don't. Some people love it. It was the 7th movie in the franchise, but it's a direct sequel to the second one and basically erases everything else that happened after the second one.
Right.
I actually like this in its own trilogy of Halloween, Halloween 2, and H2O, all three of them together. Make a really awesome trilogy if you just kind of disregard everything else.
Yeah, just kind of. Well, it's a fun movie. And I'm kind of a latecomer to the Halloween fandom. I wasn't originally, as a kid, Halloween wasn't a big deal to me, but I liked H2O a lot, and everybody knows too now that I really do like the Halloween movies. But this one was fun. Who was in this? What rapper was in this that everybody?
LL Cool J was in this.
Is that who I'm thinking of?
Yeah, and of course this one was followed by an amazing sequel called Halloween Resurrection, which was obvious. Which Halloween Resurrection we can get to in the 2000s, but that was one of the greatest films ever made, and bar none the best Halloween movie out of all the series.
Wow, that's a bold statement from Charles Does. Go ahead and get you some more wine, Charles. Don't let us hold you up there. Get another drink.
I gotta get another bottle. Is what I have to get. Yeah, but I mean, I actually liked this story. I thought the story was kind of inventive, and it flowed really, really well. It played well with the other two movies. It always had positive reviews, but it made a shit ton of money. It really did.
Yep.
People were ready to see this again. There was, oh my God, there was so many pitches for like a 7th Halloween movie they were trying to make after Curse of Michael Myers. I mean, I can't even count the number of them. There was one of them that took place. There was one of them that took place like 100 years in the future, and they brought Michael Myers back as a resurrected ghost, and he inhabited somebody's body. There was some really shitty stories out there. It was really crazy stuff that they had written. I'm not kidding you. It was a DVD one. There was another one that was written that was supposed to be Michael Myers, but it turned out to be a crazy copycat killer. It was just a really bunch of stories. Like everybody was trying to throw pitches at a Halloween movie, and yeah, I mean, I thought this was a good one that it went on, and for the longest time, they were trying to get John Carpenter to come back and direct this one. Like, they were pushing really hard. Mm-hmm. And they say John Carpenter was interested, but he probably just said that and hung up the phone, never called him back.
He was waiting on a check.
He was like, why don't you guys write me a check for... He's like, what's your budget? They're like $17 million. He goes, write me a check for $16.5 million, and I'll be right there, will you?
Yeah.
I'll see you. But
that sounds like the Carpenter we all know and love.
John Carpenter had such a falling out with, the Halloween franchise that there's no way he was ever going to come back with this. So,
yeah.
But I mean, it was good. The screenplay on this one, I can't remember who wrote it, but I know it was the guy who he went on to do the screenplay for 1408. Like, what was it, like 10 years later? 1408 was a pretty good movie.
That was
I can't remember the guy's name though. Yeah,
Charles. Do I remember correctly that you and I went to a test screening of 1408 or a sneak peek together?
No,
I thought we saw 1408.
I didn't even know you was in. Well, that was like 2007.
You knew me. You knew me, Charles. You knew me. But anyway,
you man.
That was just I was just curious. So.
I mean, maybe I was there. I don't know. I was probably drunk again. Who knows?
Looks like you can watch this on CBS All Access. You wrote that down, but I see it on IMDb too.
Yeah, CBS All Access. The only way it's available is you have to get a Blu-ray that has the shitty version of Curse of Michael Myers and Halloween Resurrection on it as well. It's kind of crammed in the middle of that. It's a 3-movie Blu-ray for $14 because it's the only way they can sell the other two. So,
can you imagine buying that set and being totally new to Halloween? And going,
that's all you've ever seen?
Yeah, and going, what in the hell am I watching? What is going on?
Halloween Curse of Michael Myers, people say, like, oh, they can't give away those DVDs and Blu-rays. Guys, I can't hold on to the VHS with that. Every time I get a VHS for Curse of Michael Myers, that shit sells out, like, instantly. Like, I went through, like, 8 copies of that. Like, as soon as I get them and put them on the side, people buy them. So, it's a VHS love. I don't know about DVDs and Blu-rays, but the VHSs are hot.
Yeah. That's the only thing I imagine is just some person that has no idea, and there's people out there like that, has never seen a Halloween movie and going, you know Halloween? What? I heard of this guy with this white mask. I'm gonna buy this. Takes it home, pops it in, and goes, what? And just immediately, WTF?
He's like, yo, Martha, I thought this was an older movie. I thought it came out in like the 60s. This is the newer movie, but I don't like it too much. He ain't no Freddy Krueger, but
he ain't
I ain't gonna watch
me.
this. I ain't scared of me, but then the sequel to this H2. I don't know who this bitch is, but she not in the other one. Everybody says she's Laurie Strider. I don't know who the hell Laurie Strider is. I don't know these movies. I would take this movie back. I don't know this movie. I'm out of here. And this other one, when they were in a haunted house, and she came in with I don't know what this movie's about. Everybody like this movie. It's stupid. I'm out of here.
There you go. That is a reenactment of me on a Saturday night.
Hey, Patch of the Grave has H2 on VHS. Hey, I've got 9 copies of H2 on VHS. So if you want one,
yeah,
you let me know. Actually, wait, I've got 7. Excuse me. I was getting ready to put a couple of them up.
Okay, so Halloween H2O, the night she fought back, the trick is to stay alive. Back. Halloween 20 years later. So you got, this is H2O. It was a fun movie. I enjoyed this, and you can definitely go and check this out wherever you like. Charles,
where at, Lloyd?
I am up next with the next film.
Is it a movie?
It's a movie film. All right, this is a good one.
Oh, yeah.
A half vampire, half mortal man becomes a protector of the mortal race while slaying evil vampires. Released August 21st, 1998, it's the American superhero horror film Blade, directed by Stephen Norrington and written by David S. Goyer, based on the Marvel Comics series of the same name. Blade, yes.
Ooh.
I love Blade. Don't you love Blade?
Blade's awesome. Oh, it's awesome. It's got Tracy Lords in it at the beginning. So
you know what? That's what I lead with. Blade's awesome, and Tracy Lords is in it. So there you go.
Tracy Lords in it. I saw Blade in theaters, and I even knew Tracy Lords back then. It came on, I was like, "It's Tracy Lords!" Woo!
Yeah,
look at her go.
That is a great opening for a film. I think it's one of the greatest film openings ever.
Yeah, and I really wanted to pull a clip of it, but it's just way too long because I was like, "Ooh, we're gonna watch this," and it's like 9 minutes. And I'm like,
"Yeah,
I can't edit it down. We have to watch the whole thing, or we're screwed." So I didn't do it. I was like, "All right."
Well, this movie is totally surprised me. Didn't expect much from it. I went to see it in a dollar theater with my mom. I took my mom to see a movie that day. And we went to this dollar theater, and we were like, what's this Blade? Okay, let's check it out. And I was like, oh, yeah. I remember the comics, the Blade comic books. And what was he in? What did he appear in first? It was a Dracula or something, some kind of Dracula comic book or something. But I love this movie, and it's a movie that I don't know many people that don't like it.
Yeah, they just brought out a 4K version of it, so that's a lot of fun.
There's a 4K?
Yep, just came out recently of Blade. Fully remastered from the original negatives. Really cool.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. And then somehow they got Guillermo del Toro to do the sequel to it, which I don't know how they did to this day. Got him to do that movie. But
if you watch it, it kind of has a similar feel to his early Chronos, to to that kind of a vampire flick. It really does. There's sort of a similar tone in those two films.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it kind of, it spawned a couple of sequels. The third one is absolutely atrocious trash, but we could talk about that some other time. Gonna put that out there. I don't care what anybody says. I'm sorry. No, but I'm looking forward to it. And I know they're supposed to be making another one, aren't they? Like remake, a new one or something?
Yeah,
remake. But,
I don't know. I mean, I'll hope for good things from it, but man, this is just one of those movies. I don't know if they can remake it properly. I don't know.
Yeah, and not only does it have Tracy Lords in it, Udo Kier's in the goddamn movie. He shows up and he's like, I am Udo Kier. Do you know about the Blade? Here's a vampire man who goes, whatcha, whatcha. And he doesn't know that I am Udo Kier. I am the real vampire. And he come in here and I'd be like, you don't come in here, vampire. I'm Udo. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Udo Kier is in the movie, and he's really good in it. We love Udo Kier.
Oh, he's fantastic. I love Udo Kier more than I love, like, anything, really. It's just a problem of mine.
Yeah, and then you got Stephen Dorff, who portrayed a really good character. He was really a bastard, so that was cool. There was comedy in the film, some good comedy, some good laugh out loud moments. It's a great action flick.
It really is, and they tried to make Blade for like 6 or 7 years before this. Originally, we mentioned LL Cool J, but LL Cool J was originally going to play Blade in like 92 or 93. The original version of Blade, it was going to be more of a spoof like Vampire in Brooklyn, like something like that. Like it was going to be a humorous movie. And Wesley Snipes actually signed on to play Blade. Wesley Snipes signed on to play Blade because originally Wesley Snipes was signed on to play Black Panther in a Black Panther movie in the late 90s that never came to fruition, and then he kind of went into Blade instead. And I'm glad he did. So lots of things had to work in here. Yeah, I mean, originally too, you talk about Stephen Dorff, and they originally wanted Jet Li to play that role. Jet Li was going to be the version of Deacon Frost. And he instead decided to do Lethal Weapon 4 instead of doing this movie, which I don't know. I love Jet Li, but I don't know if I could take Jet Li as Deacon Frost. I don't know if I can.
Yeah. I don't know. That's hard to imagine, isn't it?
But you are lucky because the other person they wanted instead of Stephen Dorff was Mark Wahlberg. So we almost have Mark Wahlberg in there. Hey guys, I'm Mark Wahlberg. You know what's going on here? I'm Mark Wahlberg, I'm a vampire.
Hey, Blade. Don't be mad at me, Blade. Please don't be mad at me.
Don't be mad at me, bro. I'm Mark Wahlberg. I'm a vampire. I suck the blood,
Hi, Tree. Please don't kill us.
Yeah. Tree? Come on, guys. You know what I'm talking about.
How's your ma?
Jersey.
How's your ma?
Good.
Say hi to your ma for me.
It's good, Blade. It's so good for me. We can tug it out, bro. Come on, Blade. I love you, Blade.
Yeah,
I mean, lots of things. I mean, they even wanted like I don't know. They had a hard time with Wesley Snipes. Like, they finally gave him the role, but Snipes was always the perfect choice to be Blade. It's a well-made movie. Like you said, the opening is fantastic when we first see Blade, and there's just this awesome action scene, and it's the effects in it still hold up. It's early CGI, but a lot of this actually holds up because it's not overdone. And even if you watch the 4K version, it's really well done. It still looks really good. Really, really enjoyable. And there's a much longer cut of this movie too that I wish would get released at some time, because I know the original version that was showed to test audiences was like 2.5 hours long that they edited down. Nobody's ever seen it again. So I really was hoping that when I heard a 4K was coming out that it was going to be like that version, but it wasn't. So,
well, we can always hope maybe that'll come to fruition. In closing though, I'm not too sure about it. Just mainly because I just think Wesley Snipes was born to play that role, man. And if he's not coming back, I just, I don't have a lot of hope.
I think he's too old to come back and play.
Yeah, I know, but it's,
he's gonna come out like on a walker. He's gonna be like, "Hey, I'm Blade. Hey, everybody, I'm Blade." Oh. No, Blade was really good, and it worked out really, really well. I was always a fan of Stephen Norrington. We talked about a movie he did I really like called Death Machine. That was from '94, and surprisingly, he never really did anything besides like Death Machine and Blade. Like I told you, he brought out League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which bombed, and then basically he disappeared into like the depths of society. So, really great director though, who I kind of wish would come back and we would see him again. But I don't know, he's somewhere hiding in London, so he's out there.
Interesting.
And I'm gonna find him. I'm gonna find that son of a bitch. I'm gonna make him come do our show.
Well, we're running up on number 9, Charles, and
here we go.
This is probably what we were talking about. This is definitely what we were talking about earlier. This kind of dominated this decade.
Yeah, this one, a college student suspects the theories of bizarre death are connected to certain urban legends. What could it be?
Urban legends.
Released September 25th, 1998. It's an American-Canadian slasher film called Urban Legend, directed by Jamie Banks.
Jamie Banks. We do have a trailer, right, Charles?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, let's go ahead. We got a trailer. I like this movie, Charles. I do.
Jamie Banks never really did anything again. No, I guess he kind of did. He also did the exact same movie in a different form called Valentine in 2001 that was atrocious. He basically just used everything again. I like Urban Legend, the first one. All right, I'll say it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's definitely like they took Scream and they were like, "There's a formula."
Yeah, well, of course.
What can we do? Have you ever heard of Urban Legends? They're like, "Oh shit, Johnny, you're onto something."
Yeah.
Here's how much budget do you need? I don't know. $15 million. We're gonna get it because you're gonna make this movie. It's gonna be great. I love it.
Well, everybody knows that I'm a huge fan of slasher flicks, so I like this movie as a slasher flick. There, we don't have a lot of really high expectations for slasher flicks. You just want to see for me, I want to see that formula. I do. I want to see the formula.
This is it's not a bad movie. I like how they depict a lot of different urban legends in the film. I like the way they depict them. I mean, it's not made fantastic. You're not going this and going, yes, oh my god, the cinematography is so beautiful, and the way it captivates his eyes, it makes me explode. No, it's not one of those damn movies, but it's a fun watch.
Yeah, you want a slasher flick. You want to see the formula play out. You want to see the killer revealed. And, the Tin Little Indians style. Picking off of each victim. Creative kills, that kind of stuff. That's what you want to see.
Yeah, and you've got Robert Englund in the scene in the trailer. Brad Dourif is in it. My love, Daniel Harris, is also in this movie. And you got people who were popular at the time, like Joshua Jackson and Tara Reid, before American Pie, and Jared Leto when he was still like a nobody. You have Jared Leto in here. This is Jared Leto during the My So-Called Life time period, which I think was like 3 or 4 years before this. But little do we know that this is the guy who would go on to win an Oscar.
Yeah, right.
And portray a Joker that nobody liked but me. I don't care. But, it's a fun watch, and it definitely, I think it holds up very well. I mean, I think this one, I Know What You Did Last Summer, the first one, and Scream really hold up from this time period, 20 or so years later.
Yeah. Well, I do like these. I like this flick. They're just fun. Throwaway popcorn slasher flick kind of a thing, But it's a good time. And it's kind of a highlight of that year. 1998 that we're talking about now, but
it's a highlight of the year. And the guy who the guy who wrote this, his name was Silvio Horta, and uh, he actually died this year. He was really young, and he was only like 24, 25 when he wrote that, and he actually committed suicide earlier this year, which is really sad.
Oh, well, that sucks.
Yeah, his name was Silvio Horta, and not sure why, but I know his career didn't really go anywhere after this, which is kind of sad. This is basically the only thing he ever wrote that was ever picked up.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, hearing that he was suicide by gunshot earlier this year, and I immediately knew who it was because I had recently watched this about the time, and I was like, the same guy? Very sad,
That's a bummer.
Very sad, yeah.
It's too bad he
Mental
left.
health, guys.
Yeah.
Mental health is not a thing to joke about. It's sad.
Mm-hmm. Well, what do you say after that?
I brought it way down.
You brought the house way down.
Brought it down.
Well, you can't get it on Shudder, or it's $3.99 rental, Apple TV or Amazon, and there's a Shout Factory Blu-ray for $28 on Amazon. So there you go.
Yeah. The Shout Factory Blu-ray is pretty good. Yeah, I'd recommend getting that, but I mean it's kind of expensive. But the Shudder version that's streaming is actually really good too. So worth a rewatch if you haven't seen it in a while, especially as we're going through these.
Yeah. On to the next one. The next one is unique. Let's say that.
That's a good word for it.
Yeah. A detective pursues a sadist specially in body modification rituals who lures teenagers through the internet. Released October 2nd, 1998, it is the American psychological horror film StrangeLand, written by Dee Snider and directed by John Pieplo. If I pronounced that right. StrangeLand. This is another one that has a cult following.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does.
And it was kind of ahead of its time in a lot of ways because of the body modification stuff. I don't know. I don't think it had really hit its peak in 1998 yet. But that plays heavily into the movie.
It does play heavily in the movie. It's a very early horror film to focus on the use of the internet as well.
Mm-hmm.
Really still kind of a new thing around the time. Wasn't used in a lot of films at that time either. So definitely ahead of its time in a lot of stuff because, it's still stuff that is relevant today, with using the internet to seek out people and stuff. So really good story. Holds up really, really well. And Dee Snider's just freaking creepy in this movie. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Horribly creepy. But I remember when this came out, it was one of those what everybody talked about, like something everybody was like, oh, you've got to see this movie. Like a lot of people I knew was like, you got to see StrangeLand. It's so weird. Yeah. So,
and it's still got a really good cult following. A lot of people really, really love this film. I know he tried to do a sequel a few years ago, and that didn't happen. So I don't know what's going on. If he's ever going to try to do that again or not.
Yeah, I've heard that too off and on, so I'm not sure whatever happened to that. But other than that, I don't know a whole lot about the movie. Just that I know that it was loosely based on a Twisted Sister song that they had from the mid '80s, and the fact that it was written by Dee Snider is pretty cool. It kind of shows. He was always a super intelligent guy though, Dee Snider, so it kind of shows his creativity. He wrote a lot of his songs, so his ability to step out and actually write a screenplay. Hats off to him. It's something that's really gained a cult following after all these years,
Yeah. And he is we've had Dee as a guest a few years ago, and he's really is a cool guy. He's a nice guy. He seemed pretty down to earth, and he just wanted to be involved. I know he requested that he wanted to actually host a panel at the event, and so we made that happen.
Yeah. And he was a cool guy, really nice guy. And yeah, this movie's definitely lived on. I know at the time it was critics hated this movie. It was like it was given like the short end of every stick they could find. But it does have its faults. You can't really you can't really say it doesn't, but it's definitely enjoyable. It's one of those movies where it's like I said, has its faults, but definitely has its positives too. And if you overlook a little bit of stuff, you'll find an interesting and sort of graphic story that's intriguing. If you say that.
Yeah.
There's also a comic book prequel that came out in the mid 2000s. I know too.
Okay. I'm not familiar.
I know
with that.
Yeah, I know that there was a. I can't remember who brought it out, but there was a comic book series in the mid 2000s. That's probably when I looked at it last. So don't ask me where it is or anything because I have no idea.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Neither do I.
Somebody out there does.
But there's ways to watch this flick if you've never seen it. So you can go and you can rent it or you can get a Blu-ray.
Yeah, you can rent it, get a Blu-ray. It's only available for rent. There's not streaming anywhere, but it's like a $4 rental on basically every service you can find. And it's never been released on Blu-ray, but there is a DVD. The DVD is super cheap. It's like $5. And it's never been released. Yeah. Never been released on Blu-ray, which is kind of surprising given the cult following of it. You kind of think this would have been brought out on Blu-ray at some point, but it hasn't been.
Yeah.
So,
well, who knows? I'm sure we'll see a cool special edition or something soon.
Hopefully, But we can kind of jump to the next one, which is an interesting movie. I think a lot of people have seen.
I love this movie. I'm easy to please. What can I say?
It's all right, Lloyd. A killer doll is resurrected by his ex-girlfriend. A killer doll is resurrected by an ex-girlfriend of the murderer whose soul inhabits the toy. However, the doll then kills her and transfers her soul into a bride doll. What could this be, Lloyd?
I have no idea.
This was released October 16th, 1998. It's an American black comedy slasher romantic horror film called Bride of Chucky, directed by Ronnie Yu. Oh Lord, Bride of Chucky.
I like the clip that you pulled. So why don't we go ahead and watch that? Yeah.
And the clip really embodies how this movie completely changed the Child's Play series. This completely turned it into some sort of weird comedic spoof of itself.
Yeah.
It actually worked. It actually worked really well.
It did.
What are you doing?
I remember when this came out, and I first saw a trailer for it. I was kind of like, "What the is going on?" It's like, what is this?
Yeah.
But hey, I love Jennifer Tilly. I've always been a Jennifer Tilly fan.
Oh yeah.
She's somebody that I wish we could get to come to a show at some point.
She totally owns that role, man.
Yeah, she is so perfect, and that is her. When you see Tiffany, that is Jennifer Tilly in every aspect of everything.
Yeah,
she's so great.
I didn't hear her complaining.
I love this one. This is the John Ritter was in this one.
And John Ritter was in this one.
Yeah. And it was awesome to see him in this. He was kind of a. When did he become a big deal again? There was a show that he was on when he passed away.
What are you doing?
Oh, John Ritter?
Yeah.
What was it called?
I can't remember what it was called, but it was just kind of surprising to see him in a Chucky movie.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised to see him in a Chucky movie. Eight Simple Rules. That's what he was saying. 8 Simple Rules. Yeah, it was kind of surprising, but this was written by Don Mancini, and directed by a guy named Ronnie Yu. So Ronnie Yu was kind of known for, I don't know, kind of horror around this time because he also did this, and he did Freddy vs. Jason a few years after this. But they kind of disappeared. Like, we didn't really see him again. You think those are pretty cool, iconic movies of the 2000s, 90s and 2000s, Bride of Chucky and Freddy vs. Jason, but guy kind of didn't do anything else. And Ronnie Yu was I know him more as a Hong Kong film director. So he directed movies out of Hong Kong in the 80s. Like throughout the 80s, he did a lot of Hong Kong films, action films and drama films. That's kind of what I knew him from. And I didn't realize he had directed Bride of Chucky until I think I saw Freddy versus Jason and put the two together. Because that was what drew me to Freddy versus Jason, because I already knew him from a whole bunch of Hong Kong stuff he had done. And kind of interesting because I don't know whatever happened to him. You know, he's kind of, I don't know, disappeared.
Yeah.
I say disappeared a lot, but that's the rule of what's happened here. Disappeared.
That's more of up your alley, that kind of stuff, the Asian, films. But I wasn't real, so I'm not real familiar. I didn't really follow Ronnie Yu a lot. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at his page, and it's like Freddy versus Jason in 2003, Fearless in 2006, and then an episode of Fear Itself in 2008. And then Saving General Yang 2013, and that was it.
Yeah. I mean, some of the stuff in the 80s was a lot of fun. He did a movie called Bless This House, which is a comedic horror film. Bless This House you can get the comedic, maybe horror type feel that you're getting in Bride of Chucky. He also did a lot of action movies. China White was one. That's a pretty good one. Shogun and Little Kitchen's another one. Just a lot of, comedic action movies, kind of your run-of-the-mill Hong Kong films. They're not anything super fantastic, but there's something that I've always enjoyed watching. Probably one of the best ones he did was right before Bride of Chucky. He did a movie called Warriors of Virtue, which is an action-adventure fantasy film that was really, really fantastic. And that's kind of what got him on the radar to direct this movie, which is completely different than anything he ever directed. And it worked really, really well, Mm-hmm.
Well, I dig this flick. It was a lot of fun, and I think it's got rewatchability value to it as well. I think you can go back and rewatch Bride of Chucky several times and still enjoy it.
As long as you avoid Seed of Chucky, then we're good. I'm not getting into that with you, boy. I'm not getting into that with you again.
I know.
We're not doing this again.
I like it. I like that movie.
We're not doing this again. Remember last time we ended up mud wrestling over Seed of Chucky? I'm not doing it again. All right?
Okay. So, what do we got here? This one is...
Not doing it again, Lloyd.
Yeah, this is a rental.
I'm not doing it again, Lloyd.
Everybody knows it's on Blu-ray. You can buy it in packages and all kinds of shit. So
there's like 93 different Blu-rays of this. What I love about this is like they had to do so many nods. Like the opening scene, they show like Michael Myers and Jason's mask and like locked up in the asylum, the police, whatever it is, the police office or whatever. I'm like, what the hell, guys? Throwing too much shit in here. Come on.
Yeah.
What I love though is they're like horrible knockoff masks. They're not even like good looking masks. They're just like stuff they found at like Spirit Halloween. They're like, put this in the movie. Okay. Like here it is.
So I got the next one.
Jesus.
Next one's mine.
I don't know, I've drank too much. I'm gonna take a nap.
Go ahead. The murderous fisherman with a hook is back to once again
Jesus.
The two surviving teens, this time at a posh island resort. Released November 13th, 1998. It's the American slasher film I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, directed by Danny Cannon. Good old Danny Cannon. Now,
I'd rather not know what they did last summer. Please.
I don't know. What do you want to say about I Still Know What You Did Last Summer?
Guys, all right. The only good thing about I Still Know What You Did Last Summer is Jeffrey Combs was in it. So that's what I'm gonna stick to that. This is a movie that I Know What You Did Last Summer was so popular, they had to greenlight a sequel and film it immediately to get it out. Like they didn't care what it was about. It could have been about, the hook comes out of the toilet and it's made of turd monster. They'd have been like, I don't care. Film it, wrap it up, send it up to studios. But the story is so ridiculous and it's not well made. And apparently a lot of people like this movie. I don't know why, but if you like it, good for you. It's just not on my alley. It's not that good, but I would rather have known still what you did last summer and kind of forgot about it. Like, I don't remember anymore what you did last summer.
But quite honestly, it's been a long time since I've seen this, and I basically remember Jeffrey Combs being the hotel manager or whatever he was. Yeah. And I remember the ending being confusing or something. I mean, it's been a long time. So I guess this one didn't make a big impression on me because that's all I remember is Jeff Combs.
You know? Yeah. I like Jeff Combs. Let's just say that. The Danny Cannon in this is not known for being a good director. Danny Cannon did a movie in '95 called Judge Dredd that we don't need to talk about, Judge Dredd, but he did Judge Dredd. Basically, he directed a whole bunch of the Stallone one. Mm-hmm. Basically, he's directed a whole bunch of TV shows after that. That's kind of all he's done. You know, what are you gonna say about that?
Well, Mr. 80s says that it has Mekhi Phifer, Jack Black, Brandy Norwood. Those are highlights too.
You know, I don't know what I want to say about this. But let's just go here. Jack Black is in this, and all I remember about him is he played some really weird Rastafarian type character named Titus, and I remember it not being right at the time, and it's probably even more not correct nowadays.
Yeah. Have you watched this one recently at all?
No.
Yeah. I think 1999 or something was probably the last time I watched this movie.
I'm going to do this for you guys. This weekend, I'm going to watch I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. I'm going to give you guys a report on how it holds up, all right? And then I'm going to watch I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. And I'm going to do a report on how things are coming from last summer, guys. I'm going to let you know how I'm feeling about last summer, all right?
Okay.
Feeling pretty good about it.
So we can safely say that we've said enough about this movie. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
I still don't want to talk about I Still What You Know What You Did Last Summer. So why don't we move on to one here that this is Lloyd's top movie of 1998.
This is wait a minute, before you say anything, let me preface what you said and say that's a lie. And also, this movie is an egregious piece of crap. How's that sound?
It's a film. All right?
Okay, go ahead.
The best thing about this next movie is the trailer, which made it look pretty good until it came out.
I was going to say the same thing, Charles. That was what I wanted to see, was the trailer.
The trailer's amazing. The trailer
makes you want to see it. And there was also a radio spot that made you really want to see this movie too.
The trailer looked like something cutting edge, like they were going to do something with this movie that nobody wanted them to do. Let me talk about the movie here real fast. So we can go on.
You got to, Charles.
I can't. I'm scared. All right. A young female embezzler arrives at a motel that has some terrible secrets of its own. Released December 4th, 1998. It's an American horror film called Psycho. Directed by Gus Van Sant, a nearly shot-for-shot remake of the 1960 film of the same name. Okay, now here's the problem. Nobody wanted you to remake Psycho to begin with. So that's on the table. Then you give us this trailer where you're like, all right, guys, I'm making Psycho again. But look, I'm making this awesome trailer. It's going to be cutting edge, completely different, bonkers. You're like, holy shit, let's do it. Then I watch the movie and I'm like, this is the same goddamn movie.
This is exactly the same movie, just different actors and whatever. I want to go ahead and watch this trailer because I want people to see they lied to us with this trailer. And
they did.
Terrible.
And so many people have defended this movie. Even like Quentin Tarantino's defended this as artistic brilliance. I'm like, you shot for shot remake a goddamn movie. It's not artistic.
Yeah. All right,
I can do this myself with an iPhone nowadays.
Let's hear this first part.
All right, go ahead. I'm gonna take a nap.
Okay.
I can't do it. I'm scared.
When a mother has to speak to condemn her own son, but I couldn't allow him to think that I would commit murder.
Okay, and if you'll watch, they show Rob Zombie. He just passed. Why did they show Rob Zombie? Was he so effing scary? Like, this is gonna scare the shit out of y'all. I'm gonna scare the hell out of y'all. So then you see this, and you still believe that there might be
best friend is his mother.
some way that they have
Oh my
changed this
God.
movie up. And they've actually come up with something, a
just goes a little
new
mad
fresh
sometimes.
twist on Psycho.
Something you're like, this is gonna be crazy. Do something crazy.
And I remember they had a radio spot they played at the time, and they had a bunch of kids they made it feel like what you were hearing was a bunch of kids taunting Norman Bates,
yeah.
and they were going, "Norman is a psycho. Norman is a." Do you remember that trailer? I mean,
Yeah.
that radio spot, and you thought, "Oh, great!
I
We're
know,
gonna
I
get
know.
to see Norman at a young
This is
age, and it's gonna."
A full bait and switch. This is a full bait and switch movie. They got you
there.
so good.
Yeah, you got into the theater, you watched it, and you went. Well, I don't think I saw it in the theater.
I did.
I think
I
I
did.
waited and ended up watching it on home video after everybody said it was terrible.
Let me tell you guys, this is the first movie I ever walked out on in theaters. Ever.
It's just,
Ever.
It's not a bad movie. It's just that it's basically this exact same movie as the original. They didn't change anything. They didn't try to improve anything. And maybe that's the only thing you can do with a remake of Psycho. Maybe that's why they did that. I don't know, but it's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whose ideal this movie was. I don't know how this ever passed. Gus Van Sant was such a hot director this time too, coming off of Good Will Hunting. I don't know how this movie ever got made. Even with how Universal is, I don't know how this was ever allowed to be made as a shot-for-shot remake. I mean, somebody at Universal had to have seen a rough cut of this before it was released. So that means somebody at Universal, a high-end person, watches and goes, "That movie good. This seems like a movie that's really good." This is probably a guy who never saw Cycle. He's like, "There's something good about this movie. Shit, this movie's so good. Woo! We're gonna bring this out. We're gonna win Oscars."
There's a lot of comments.
What are we talking about, guys? What do you guys think? All right.
So Meredith Allen said it had a good cast. Yes, I agree.
I'll say Vince Vaughn was a good choice as Norman Bates. I think this movie had a nice ingredients to be something good if it was done differently, because the cast was good. I know that Danny Elfman did some work on the score of Bernard Herrmann's work on this, and I think it could have been something fun if it would have been a different take.
Well, I would have
maybe
loved
how
to
we
have seen
saw-
more of Norman as a psycho, or how he got to be a psycho, or something. It just seems like they could have added.
You know what we
more.
needed? Rob Zombie needed to direct this damn movie, because they would have been like Halloween. It would have been something that was a
You would have had
remake, but a different take
The
of
Bates
it.
family would have been a bunch of rednecks, and they would have been like, "Shut up, you dumb mother effer!"
You dumb motherfucker! You get down there, Norman. Take off your panties and throw them against the wall. All right, Norman.
It's not. This movie is not terrible, but the problem is they just simply remade shot for shot the original movie. And
That's
it's
the
just-
thing, is it's not-
worthless in that point.
It is worth this point. It's not a terrible movie, but the reason it's not a terrible movie is because you're doing a shot-for-shot remake of an Alfred Hitchcock movie.
Right.
So it's like, you can watch this and say it's good, but that's like somebody doing a shot-for-shot remake of like Shawshank Redemption. You're like, well, it's still a good movie, but you're just remaking the damn movie over again. It's like it's the same movie.
The same guy that bought that Halloween 3-movie Blu-ray pack that you were talking about, they've never seen Psycho either. If they saw this movie, they go, "That's a pretty good movie."
This
Right?
is so good.
Yeah.
I like
But
this
if they
movie.
didn't
This
see,
is directed by
only if they
Alfred
didn't see the
Hitchcock directed
originals.
this.
Yeah.
Alfred Hitchcock did this movie. I know him.
Well,
And it's the thing too. Is like if you, and I've actually rewatched this a couple times to dive more into it. I rewatched this as early as last year, and like when you watch this, you can identify that it's a well-made movie. It's just a shot-for-shot freaking remake of Psycho. It's like, okay, the acting's good, the people doing these roles are good, except William H. Macy's really freaking weird in this movie. Something wrong with him in this movie, but
Yeah.
everybody else is good in this movie. And it's just that it's something that should never have been made.
Yeah, it was a bad idea from the beginning. So, but I guess somebody wanted to make some money, and they decided to remake that. There you go, boom. So
I think I'm gonna remake it again on my phone, shot for shot.
it was just so disappointing seeing that. Just an
Really?
opportunity.
Will you make this with me?
squandered.
Can we
No.
remake this on my phone?
You
Shot for
can
shot.
go right ahead, but no.
All right, I'm making it with my dog then. Me and my dog are gonna remake this movie. It's
There
gonna
you
be
go.
fantastic. A boy's best friend is his mother.
There you go. There you go.
I'm doing it right now. I gotta go.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Well, we've reached the end of '98, and you can tell it's been a.
We're not at
It's been
the
a
end.
year
You
of
have,
movies.
there's one more movie.
We do, and it's yours.
It's
Which
mine.
is actually a pretty good one.
It is.
It's actually a fun one.
It is a fun one. And I really like this movie a lot.
I do too, actually. The next one I do.
Okay, students suspect that their teachers are aliens after a series of bizarre occurrences. Released December 25th, that's Christmas, y'all. 1998.
Christmas.
It is the American sci-fi horror film The Faculty, directed by
What?
our good old buddy Robert Rodriguez.
Robert Rodriguez.
The Faculty is a super fun movie. It's basically an update of the old sci-fi stuff from the 50s or whatever, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers or stuff like that. But it was done really well, and I think it worked. I love The Faculty.
I like it too, and it's a Texas film. It was shot completely in Austin. I love Robert Rodriguez, and I'm really glad that he directed this. Originally, this was written by Kevin Williamson, and Kevin Williamson was originally going to direct this too, and I'm kind of glad he didn't because
Yeah.
this is a great movie for Robert Rodriguez. But Kevin Williamson was a great screenwriter. He wrote I Know What You Did Last Summer. He wrote Scream, and he's a great screenwriter, really fantastic screenwriter. And yeah, I mean he's somebody I enjoy his films, and he also wrote one called Teaching Mrs. Tingle, which wasn't that good, but hey, you're 3 for 4. But this was a fun movie. It's got a great cast. I can tell you the CGI does not hold up 20-something years later. It looks very comical, but still fun. Who cares?
Yeah, and Piper Laurie's in it. I think I like her role as Mrs. Olsen. And
Mrs. Olsen, yeah.
Yeah, and she did a great job. I loved seeing her in this movie. Jon Stewart, Robert Patrick. Robert Patrick has a really cool role. He's a dick in this movie.
Yeah. Selma Hayek, of course. It's a Robert Rodriguez movie, so it's got Selma Hayek in it.
There you go.
I'm talking about Selma Hayek and Famika Jensen are like the hottest teachers ever. They're just like, I'm a teacher. I think Selma Hayek's like the nurse. I'm like, you don't look like my nurse in high school. Jesus.
Yeah.
Lord. Come on.
Yeah, Nurse Rosa Harper is what it says.
That was her. Rosa Harper.
Yep.
Isn't Usher in this too, the singer?
Yeah, Usher's in it. And
Usher,
Elijah
Usher,
Wood.
baby. Usher. Frodo.
But it's a fun movie. It's a throwback to the monster, like I said, the kind of the monster alien flicks from back in the 50s and 60s, and
Yeah, definitely.
and it's great. The CGI, like you said, is not so great anymore. But man, '98 wasn't a good year for CGI. It was way too early.
Yeah, it wasn't, except for Blade, because Blade did pretty good, by doing it very minimally. That kind of holds up, but great cast, and it's really fun, and I love when they do the sort of the blood test of the movie because it's really a homage to The Thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like almost shot. I like that. I like little things like that. Lots of fun. But
Well, I think this whole movie is an homage to those, like I said, those old horror sci-fi flicks, and they basically just update it. And what was the drug they were passing around in the pens?
oh god, I don't remember.
I can't
Made
even
out of like
remember.
Clorox or something.
But The Faculty was a highlight of 1998 for sure, right?
Yeah. Yeah, this was yeah, you know, we talked about Kevin Williams who did the screenplay. The story for this was actually written way before he did the screenplay. He kind of polished it. This was another movie that we wouldn't have if it wasn't for Scream, because it's finally got greenlit because of the success of Scream. That's like a lot of these movies. So thanks to Scream, we got a lot of these fun movies from the 90s, and The Faculty was one of them.
Yep, and they prominently display that this screenplay was written by the same people behind Scream and Scream 2.
You have to.
Or by the writer of, which we know who that is.
You have to.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely, if you weren't a Scream film, it was going to be tough to make a horror movie, so they kind of marketed this as such.
I think that was a time where posters were saying, from the writer of a guy who once sat next to the guy who wrote Scream.
Yeah.
Like, what?
They all said that, didn't they? Well, guys, that's the last movie on the list. We do have honorable mentions, so let's go ahead and roll that beautiful bean footage of movies that we did not include on the main list.
That was hard to do an honorable mentions list. I'll say that.
Apollo 13, starring Tom Hanks, will continue in a moment.
Slipping the tip in one last time for the year.
What we got?
We are, looks like the first one.
It's gonna be alright.
Oh, yeah, I know what this is. This is
Richard Nettleton just gave us a tip. Richard Nettleton tipped us. 2020, Richard!
Thank you for the
My
tip.
man.
That is
Thank
awesome.
you, Richard. You
Yeah,
are...
Peter Benchley's
Crazy.
Creature. That's what I was trying to think of.
We'll return to Apollo 13 shortly.
Yeah.
Da-da-da.
I didn't watch this video yet, so we got Ian McKellen. Oh, this is a great movie.
You know, it's a great movie, and it's not really 100% horror.
It's not.
So
yeah.
I didn't include it on the list, but I had to include it in the honorable mentions because Ian McKellen is so great in this. And this is a really an amazing film.
It certainly is. Okay, now we're on to dudes in spacesuits. Let's see what this is.
Oh no!
Oh,
I'm sorry.
yeah. I know what this is. This is a Dean Koontz, right?
You're Dean Koontz. Actually, yeah, it is.
Is that what this is all about? You don't think this is your baby?
Phantoms.
Cannot be denied.
I'm gonna die, Craig.
It's not as bad as people say. Right. I'm gonna say that.
Of an alien fetus.
This, now we're on to Progeny. I believe this is what
Oh yeah, Progeny. Progeny's not fun, but it's not.
yeah. You know, it's 1998, right?
This is not our baby.
When you feel it, you'll know it's 1998.
There it was.
We got a new person, Motez Hayek. Motez Hayek says they are new.
Hey, at only $199 a month for 36 months with a $5.99
I don't know what's going on.
payment, my Cavalier leaves plenty for my bargain hunting. I get
JRE
all
also
wear,
likes Phantoms.
ABS, all for $199 a month.
I agree. I think Phantoms is kind of underrated. I probably would have got into it, but hey, you can lease a new Cavalier for $199 a month, though. So let's talk about that.
What would be your reaction
In 3 acts.
to opening your door and finding that
Okay.
same clown on your front step at midnight?
The Clown,
at
Midnight.
Time does the matinee
I've never
start?
seen
That's a
that.
fun movie.
Funny
That's a
about
fun
him.
movie.
Maybe I need to check that out.
Available wherever videos are sold.
Open wide, Jamie!
Killing is liberating.
The Dentist 2.
Ooh, The Dentist 2.
Open wide.
The Dentist 2.
Because the truth.
Hey, the best thing about The Dentist 2 is Corbin, you know?
That's true.
Ben Affleck was the bomb in Phantom too.
X-Files.
I had to add that from my good buddy Travis Brown because we and him both like the X-Files.
And all the
Yeah.
Not good, not 100% a horror movie, but it fits with the times.
Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island.
Because this time,
That deserves a mention.
the monsters are real.
On Zombie Island? Hell yeah, it does.
This time the monsters are real.
On ABC.
All right, everybody. There you go. 1998, the year in horror. That was the Frightmare HQ honorable mentions. Good job putting that together once again, Charles. Cool video.
Yeah. Oh, I do it for you, Lloyd.
So what did everybody think of 1998 in general? Do you give it a 9 or a niche?
Niche. Do you give it kind of a
niche?
A so?
A 9.
A so. Is it like kind of thumbs up, kind of thumbs down? I'm gonna kind of go like with a solid 2 out of 5 for 1998. All right.
Richard wanted to know, how did Scooby-Doo miss the list?
Man, it's hard, you know.
It's hard being Scooby-Doo. He's been around forever,
guys,
baby, but you know.
And so after this, we are going to choose our next decade, but I'm going to let the Patreons choose it. I'm going to post a poll on our Patreon page. I'm going to let them choose the next decade. Awesome. It's up to them. I'm going to tell you guys, if we go in the 2000s, it gets a little bleak. It gets a little bleak there for a while.
It starts getting a little bleak, everybody.
We may have to combine some years. I'm just going to say that. I'm going to say that. I've already kind of looked into it.
Yeah.
There may be like a couple of combined years there. You never know.
Yeah. Well, there were some good highlights to 1998. You know, Blade was good. Ringu was great.
You know, Biozombie's a fun movie.
The Faculty was fun. Biozombie was fun.
Good. Bride of Chucky is a fun movie. Even Deep Rising is a fun movie. You know, there's kind of fun movies. It's just like some of the movies that are fun are more sci-fi driven, which is a big thing. Then Deep Rising is definitely sci-fi driven.
Yeah.
But we had some good stuff. You know, we had the last Phantasm movie because there wasn't a fifth one. You know, and you know, we had some more Scream knockoffs, Urban Legend, and we had I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, guys. But let's give away a copy of Sleepwalkers, all right, Lloyd?
Let's do it.
Throw a question out there, Lloyd. I don't care what it's about.
I know what I want to ask, but I need to look up something to make sure I get it right. How's that sound?
Are you looking up Asian movies again, Lloyd?
Yep.
You always do.
I'm looking up them dirty Asian movies.
You're so gross, Lloyd. I'm tired of coming over to your house and all I see is weird Asian porn. I'm like, stop, Lloyd. Lloyd tricks me. He's like, Charles, you want to come over to see this awesome horror movie I just got? I'm like, sure, I show him. He's like, boom. I'm like, that's not about Asian porn again, Lloyd. Like,
stay out
all
of
right.
it.
I got you good, sucker. I want to thank Richard Nettleton again for his $20.20 tip. Thank you so much, Richard. We appreciate
Thank you very
that.
much, Richard. We appreciate that.
Love you guys so much. If you can,
Allie Toppa tipped $5.
Yeah, if you can, if you haven't
Cool
there,
cat.
throw us a like out.
Allie just tipped $5. Thank you, Allie. We appreciate that.
Oh, thank you, Allie. And yeah, if you guys can, if you're watching on YouTube, throw a like and share it afterwards. That's really awesome. And you know, Meredith Allen says, "Why don't just do the 2000s and keep flowing?" Yeah, sure, I'm down. I have a feeling our Patreons are going to choose the 2000s. I don't know why, but I'm pretty sure they are. Convention this, they've heard me talk about how much of a struggle it's going to be. They're all going to choose it. They're like, do it.
Yeah. So I've got a question. I'm just trying to decide how I want to phrase it. Let's say, what famous British author and horror director made a cameo in this film as a forensic technician?
Ooh.
So keep your eyes open. Let's see what we got. I want to know what
Brian Krause and Alice Creek star in this terrifying tale of modern day vampires.
But
The
okay.
Boogans.
So the question is, what horror author and horror director makes a cameo? Bam!
JRE
We
summoned
got-
El Diablo.
Oh, wait a minute.
Thanks for the tip. One last
Somebody
El
summoned
Diablo.
El Diablo. JRE summoned El Diablo.
El Diablo!
Yay! There was El Diablo. Thank you for the summon. We appreciate that, JRE.
No. Who got it first?
I got to announce the winner. I got too excited that we got El Diablo visiting us. Ashley Guillory, first-time winner here on the Frightmare HQ giveaways.
Ashley!
Congratulations, Ashley Guillory. We need you to reach out to us on
Stephen Burt tipped $20.
Whoa, Stephen Burt
Great
just tipped
show.
us too. Thank you very much, Stephen.
Whoa.
We appreciate that.
Thank you,
you.
Stephen.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it, guys. Appreciate that. Got a lot of people who don't like Sleepwalkers out here. Hey, guys, no problem with that. I love Sleepwalkers myself. I'm a big fan of Sleepwalkers. I think it's a fun movie.
I think
I
it
know we
is,
talked
too.
about it.
It kind of threw me for a loop when I first saw it. I went to a theater and saw that, and I was like, "What is this? What the hell is going on here?"
But so I think what we're gonna do Saturday.
Wait, before we move on, I want to make sure Ashley Guillory knows to reach out to us on Frightmare HQ's Facebook page or go to frightmarehq.com and message us either way through either one of those.
Yeah.
We need your address so we can get that out to you.
Yeah, that, and it'll direct you. My email is charlesdoes@frightmarehq.com. One of those. Give me your address, and I will send this to you. So, I think Saturday. So, what are we doing Saturday?
Saturday, I think we're going to try to do somewhat of a recap show.
I think we'll do just kind of a start of the year recap, and maybe get some feedback from people on stuff they like that we did, and more what we can do, so we can plan for 2021 a little bit more for you guys. What we want to do with it. I'm trying to continue by bringing you guys more videos of stuff.
JRE summoned El Diablo.
Let's do 20.
Thanks
let's just
for
get
the
on and
tip.
just
One last
let's have an
El
old-fashioned
Diablo.
Frightmare HQ where we just get on and just bullshit with everybody. This looks like a lot of fun.
I'm going to
And I can
replay
do some giveaways too.
JRE's the El Diablo because the sound didn't work, and I think I got it worked out. So let's do it again.
I think Saturday too. I'll do like I'll do a few
JRE
giveaways
summoned El
for
Diablo.
movies on Saturdays.
Thanks
It's
for
the
the
beginning of
tip.
the year.
One last El Diablo.
And I think it would be fun. I mean, I think it'd be fun if we had some of our watchers could always jump in and join us if they want to. That'd be fun.
Let's talk about it. We'll get it worked out, and we'll figure all that out. That would be cool to have a couple of our watchers on with us on the recap. So let's.
Yeah,
let's
Jeanette's
talk
kind of
about
had it
that.
right. You know, stories about people we've met and talked to this year. You know, we had a lot of cool guests who've come on the show. Some people we've talked to. It's pretty good. I like Patrick's New Year's themed horror films. There's
a handful of them.
We could do them all, probably. Pick every one of them.
That is a good idea.
I'd rather do that.
Would you rather do that?
I'm down to do whatever.
Because we can always recap later.
All right.
Well, we'll talk about it later.
We'll figure out something to do on Saturday. We're going to do something on Saturday, guys. We're going to do something. We'll be on Saturday. I'll probably go to, I don't know. I'll message you. We'll figure something out. We'll do it Saturday.
All right.
Are we going to do a watch party Saturday?
I was just about to ask you that.
Let's do a watch party too, Saturday night.
All right. I'm in.
Who?
Let's do it.
Who wants to host Saturday night though? Do we have a host?
Yeah. Message us. Unless somebody wants to jump up right now and say it.
Somebody wants to join us on Saturday, pick the movie. We're going to do a watch party. If nobody volunteers, I'm going to choose the movie. That's never a good thing because I've got a list of them. I'm also trying to, I can tell our Patreons that I'm also trying to do another live screening for you guys in January, like we've done a couple of times. Trying to work on that though, because the selections of movies for some reason are still Christmas themed, and I keep telling them I don't want to show a Christmas movie in January.
Yeah,
like come on. So Patreons, just keep your eyes open for that. I'll give you guys a few weeks notice, but I'm trying to do another live in theater screening like we've done a couple of times before. So working on that. So
cool.
Not right now though, because I drank too much. So there's no telling what we'll end up watching if I do it right now.
Todd Lewis asks, "Is the store open this weekend?" Yes, it is open. I think all 3 days. Let's see. Friday is the first. Yeah, I'm gonna open the store Friday. Normal hours, normal business hours this weekend. If you guys want to stop by and check out Frightmare Collectibles.
Oh shit! I'll come by on Saturday then. We'll do the show from Frightmare Collectibles.
Let's do it.
Why doesn't everybody come out to Frightmare Collectibles and we'll just do the damn show there? We'll have a great time.
Yeah, everybody come out and you can do a guest spot.
So you can join us.
That's right. We'll do it live. We'll do it live. Well, that's it, everybody. I think we are all set up. Charles and I get our shit together, and we'll be announcing what's going on. And let y'all know.
We don't ever know what the hell's going on. All we know is All you guys can know is that we're going to be here at the regularly scheduled time, and we'll do something. That's what we do.
That's right. All right, guys. I think that's it. I want to say thank you to everybody that joined us tonight and watched the show and participated in all the commenting. It's always great to see you guys chatting and talking.
And that's true.
Have a great New Year's Eve, which is coming up tomorrow. Enjoy your New Year's Eve. Have fun and be safe. Right?
Yes.
That's the main thing.
Be safe.
Definitely. So that's it. We will be back at you soon. Join us when we come back. Thanks. Peace out.
Bye.